The Honda S2000, one of the most pure driving experiences you can buy for the money, between $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000. You know, recently I've a buyer cross country was purchasing a car based on where I'm located and asked me to, as someone in the forum, to take a look at the car, and since he was so far away, and share some thoughts about the condition. This video was posted about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and it's gotten a significant number of views relative to the other videos I've had there. So it sounds like there's a need out there for more information as to what to look for when buying an S2000. Now, so I want to do a public service. I want to share some of my knowledge, some of what I learned over the years through mistakes, research, etc. And so I'll be doing a video series on the steps to follow when doing a personal high-level inspection of the Honda S2000. So this will include an external inspection, high level, the body, interior, engine, and a test drive. So today I'll be basically showing you an external inspection of the body of the car, the paint. I'll be looking at VIN stickers, some of the things that I look for to see whether or not the car has had any body work, and so forth. I want to keep this video short, so I'm breaking this into different sessions, and today I'll be doing the body, VIN stickers, and so forth. So first thing I want to do, I will not go into the engine bay today, even though you can see it in the video. I want to talk about the VIN stickers. This is really, really important. The S2000 is a high performance car, so a lot of people buy this car, they take it to the track, they take it to the autocross, and things happen. People lose control, they replace body panels, they get paint jobs done, and so forth. So one of the first things I do is look at all the VIN stickers. This car has about 10 VIN stickers, okay? So starting with the front, you're gonna get one VIN sticker on each fender, okay? Both sides. You're gonna get one VIN sticker at the bumper here, one at the hood, and on both sides of the car, you will get VIN stickers at the door here, at the panel, side panel, as well as here. Okay, that's both sides. And then in the back bumper, you got one here, and you got one right on the trunk lid. All right, just right on the trunk. First thing I do, so if any VIN stickers are missing, I immediately start asking questions to the seller as to whether he knows or she knows anything about the history, run a Carfax, and so forth. That's the first thing I do. Secondly, I take a good look at the paint. Do we have different shades of the color around the car? Because sometimes when you get a paint job, sometimes it's a really good paint job, sometimes it's not so good. Sometimes you can't really tell, but sometimes you can. Even at a far distance, you can tell different shades, and something has happened. You see some of the orange peel, you see some Bono. The last car that I did a pre-purchase inspection on a couple weeks ago, the seller disclosed, you can see some of the effects of body paint. Okay, so take a good look at the car for any signs of body work. I look at the bumper. The bumper, usually it's one of the most frequently repainted or replaced, because it's the bumper, of course. So what I do is that I look at the edges of this plastic trim here, and sometimes if it's been repainted, you will see overspray on this area. That's the first thing I look at. You also notice that if the bumper has been removed and repainted or replaced, sometimes the alignment is not so good anymore. Okay, so you look at that. Look at how the bumper is aligned relative to the body of the car. Make sure everything looks good. If it doesn't look aligned, maybe the previous seller removed the bumper. Ask why. Sometimes they have to do that for some reason or another. And of course, look for overspray signs in this area as well. This black trim is usually recycled should there be body work, so take a look at that as well. So you can tell a lot by looking at the front bumper. Overspray on some of the plastic areas. Okay. Feel this area of the fender. Usually if it's been repainted, you will feel the overspray. You will feel a rough area here. Is it smooth? Is it rough? So go over this area, put your fingers on and get in there. Does it feel, feel both sides? Does it feel rough? Does it feel light? These bolts here, very important. Take a look at these. Do you see any signs, any chips on these bolts? Any chips? Usually if there are chips on these bolts, it means the fender has been removed at one point or another. It may have been replaced. So if you feel a roughness in this area, in addition to chips on the boat, it's very likely that the fender has been repainted or replaced. Check this area. Usually if this area has been repainted, if it's been repainted in the fender, you will see some overspray on this plastic area. And do the same the rest of the car. Okay, here, if this has been repainted, you'll feel a rough overspray area here, as well as this area. Okay, usually on the S2000s, if this fender has been replaced, you will see overspray or pieces of sometimes they haven't taped this correctly and you see some of the residue and overspray, and you can just go through it. Just go through the edges. Okay. Same thing with this area. You'll feel it. Has it been repainted? Do you feel roughness? Okay. How you doing? So take a look at this area here and see what you see, as well as this area here. Okay. And of course the bumper, the rear bumper. Any signs of respray, feel the paint, feel how smooth it is when it hasn't been repainted. And usually the S2000s, they are not, this is not always aligned, so it's not a big issue if you see it that way. Okay. Now, one of the things that I look for as well is how hard the car has been driven. I've seen cars that have been driven very hard, but very well maintained. It's not an issue. These cars are incredibly reliable. But if you want to tell whether this car has been tracked, raced, autocross, or driven hard, take a look at this area. Usually, this is the first area of exposure, and if you see lots of rock chips here, usually means it's been hard driven in areas with a lot of rock chips, or it's been tracked. Especially here, this is an area of exposure. Sometimes I see cars with rock chips all the way up here, S2000s, and these are usually the track cars that I see. So again, I'm not really concerned about these cars being tracked. Depends how heavily they've been modified, because the more modified they are, the harder they break, the more stress on the car. But again, you can ask the question and see what the seller will disclose. As you go through the car, ask questions. Right? If you see things that indicate hard driving, track, autocross, or paint work, you can ask, hey, by the way, have you ever taken this car to the track? And sometimes it's been. If the seller's not being straightforward with you, that begins impacting the credibility of the seller. And you want to be very careful whether you can trust that seller with further dealings. Okay? So these are the things I look for on the body. I also may look inside here, the wheel wells, to see if there's any signs of rust. Okay, this car obviously does not have a stock exhaust, and that's not usually a big deal for me, so long as I know what type of exhaust they put in there and whether it's acceptable. And this car is also not stock height. If the car is not stock height, you want to ask this. Obviously, it's been modified. Ask the seller what's been installed, who's done it, and so forth. Okay. Look in this area as well. If it's been repainted, you usually would see some residue there as well. You can look inside here. This is the frame, and if you look, find out what the frame is and take a look to see if there's any damage to the frame. Usually see it here and there, and also you could see it from the inside here if you duck down. Take a look at any signs of damage to the frame. Okay, so keeping this short. On the body, we'll talk about the soft top later, but of course look at any signs of ripping. Look, this area here is typically one of the areas that areas that you see most of the ripping happen in this area. And look very closely. Sometimes you see signs of wear early on. Look over here, look through the inside of the soft top. Take a look for any signs of it being replaced and so forth. All right. Again, do your research. A lot of this information I've gathered from S2KI. There's a gentleman in who posted information and steps on how to do an inspection on a S2000 that you're purchasing. Credit given to Dammit Jim from S2KI on things to look for when buying an S2000. A lot of this I gotten from that list. So again, look at the VIN stickers, look for signs of wear, look for signs of paint, check the door panels. Usually if the car has been repainted, sometimes they reuse this trim and they don't place it back correctly. Okay, check the Honda logos. Make sure there's a Honda logo on the windshield, and if there isn't one, sometimes it means the windshield has been replaced. So you'll see here, you have a Honda logo right there. There you go. All right, guys. Next episode will be what to look for on the engine bay. I'll talk about the interior, and I'll also talk about the test drive and the mechanical aspects of it. Signing out, and go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and also to be notified on the upcoming videos on how to buy an S2000. Take care. Be safe.